Yeah, shareable. Ah, show the secrets. Here we go. Ah, you got here first. Congratulations. Sure, the YouTube stuff showing up on screen. I've been pretty good. Just got a bunch of homework to do today, so probably only gonna stream for 3 hours. Heyo. Whoa, I didn't think this was actually possible. I thought at neutral power, recon plus infantry always killed infantry on city. Is that only at +1? Unreal. Have a good night. I didn't know you submitted a replay. You're right. Min damage. Oh, I got... This is a very lucky infantry. You DM'd your replay to me. They don't have tower. Did you DM me a replay? Might need to start coming up with a different system. Advanced warrior. Oh, you're right there. You did. Oh, okay. There you are. Yeah, I see it. Memory is so good. Yeah, that's impressive. Okay, let's take our captures. Starflash, this is the game where I'm going to be... it was a double transporcopter opener, and it's going to transition into lander. Hello. Six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nothing. Thank you, Chad. Did I get more than 7 hours of sleep? I did actually end up getting more than 7 hours of sleep. I also need to lower this. There we go. Hey, welcome to the stream. I have a lot of replays. I have a few, but always feel free to submit more. Here. So many boosts. Taking one city there is already winning. Well, this one's looking kind of unopposed for now. I'm sure something will show up. Reels, not much. That's fine. This mech sit in this forest. And I can either go in this forest or I can just stay on the city. I think staying on the city is better. And jumping in the forest is cooler. So we'll do that. This coolness is very important. Sides of the map are always like a balancing act. You always want to like commit just a tiny bit more than your opponent, but not too much more. So I can understand why you would you have trouble doing it. I hear the penguins prefer the forest to the cities. Okay, so it's raining. Just to be expected. Did not get scared by my bluff of a copter. Okay. Surprised I didn't take any chip damage. Okay. Blocking my access to the airport makes sense. Very boldly standing in that forest. We'll have to make sure to injure this infantry because it's trying to take my comm tower from me. Okay. No. And then you go over here. Reveal this guy for me. Have you go here. Take him out. Go for the capture. Yeah, just attack here. Oh, there's tanks over here. Maybe not. What kind of tanks are over there? Got an 8 health and 9 health. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's not safe to strike. Definitely do this though. You wish you could make it to a city. Could just retreat with you, I guess. It's not that bad, but it's not ideal. I'm fine with going for this kill. Even though he attacks me from here. Definitely should have so I can do this. Okay, let's do this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That wouldn't quite work. I guess we'll come sit on the lab. My opponent could very easily stream style my position, yeah. That's why I'm playing on an alt and not on my main. And honestly, it's very refreshing to just play on an alt and not have quite so much pressure all the time. So going for the city forces a lot of stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's within the city's range, so it's really not worth it. Or not the city, the base's range. 1, 2, 3, 6. So I think you just try and pick on that copter. Just kind of stand in the way. I don't even know if I should save this or not. You can just wait. Move attempt failed. Okay. I see this guy now. Oh, maybe I should have attacked from over here. Nah, this is better. Now this copter might go for this copter. Failed to wait, lol. Yeah. I'm from the west coast of the United States. 6:38 p.m. right now. I've been to Singapore though. It's pretty nice. Ah, that's right. I'm not the Penguins. I can just go after this guy, right? I can't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stop. We'll just go for our city here. Go for this kill. Nice. Get you back for some repairs. Go here. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this guy yet. Tower does kind of make sense. Okay. Alright, we go to there. That covers the recon. Get against this first strike. I'm probably getting artillery here and then infantry here. Or get an artillery here maybe. One, two, three, 4, 5 to here. Yeah. Let's do that. Probably just move you like here. Could stay here. I don't really want to give this tank a strike from the city. The idea is if he hits this, he has to hit it from plains or road. And no matter what he hits me with, I have a good counterattack. And then he can't leave this city if he wants to get the capture off, because I can only go tank infantry. Is the idea. I do have a game I'm losing though. That's on equal tiers. I also take a lot of long turns. Oh, congratulations. Pod games are super fun. Oh, my opponent did not use the super. Well, that's really good for me, power-wise, because this means that when my opponent does use the super, I will actually be getting charge off of it. I also get some cities here. It's an okay hold because of the Neotanks. I think this is a roll, but like a really good roll if I get it. Hey. Infantry here, maybe. This won't be a kill, yeah. I could set this up. Actually do quite a big attack over here. He does have a copter. Can't get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I can if I want to get a kill on that tank. I might just go after all of the infantry though. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can't quite get this. So he can only hit this. Let's see, if I just send my infantry to cap stuff, like this city, this city, this city, and then all my tanks get sent in to strike. You could kill this guy with you and you. You and you kill this one, you kill this one, and I have a free tank. But then I get hit. I lose 2. I only lose 2 tanks in retaliation though. Can I do it while killing this tank? No. Because if I go for the tank, this copter will be able to reach me. That's not nearly as good. So what would I get? I'd get like... What if I don't go for this capture? I guess not this capture. And I could do you and you build this. You don't reach. You and you kill that. You plus you kill this. You kill this, you and you kill this. So that I kill 4 infantry. That seems pretty good. I lose 2 tanks for it. He uses his super. It seems pretty good. I actually put an infantry here. 1, 2, 3. That's good. Yeah, let's go for the kill a bunch of infantry plan. Do I want this infantry here or do I want it here? I think I want it here because it's harder to kill off. Put a tank here. I can't put a tank there because I guess this does let the Neo tank kill my reef. That's not so bad. Wait, can I not kill? No, I can't. I can't. Yeah. We'll do the. Just let him hit me. I know I can. Because you can Neo tank break that. I can artillery it. From here, you'd have to hit from the road. Okay, we'll do. We'll do it this way. Can't go there. That would have been a pretty bad mistake. I might not go for this capture. I can go here with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just have to make sure he can't hit this with 2 tanks. Oh, he can break it. I guess I can block. Well. can break it with these infantry too. Threaten his city. Yeah, no move planner. Can't actually block myself off if I go there. It's actually threatening this comm tower. Go here, which is really bad. Go here. Probably what I'll do. Go here. Just go here. I guess I don't need to be scared of the Neo tanks though, right? Let's go threaten that city. Honestly, I probably should have just moved both artillery up here. In fact, I can move it here. His Neo tank would be able to reach if one kills this. He still gets shot for it. And then he's not using his Neo tanks up here. Well, regardless, we can decide that later. We want an anti-air. I want to save some cash. If I go tank infantry, I have 3k left over. It's not quite enough. I want to get myself a bomber. I need 5k left over. I can get a recon, or I can just double infantry. We'll just double infantry. It's not that bad. He uses both infantry for this attack. But... also fine just doing this. Okay. So I do like this positioning. Is it like it covers the prep square to get to the comm tower? I'd like to sit on the comm tower, but he could get that. But I think we'll just sit here. Be really annoying. Don't build missiles. I heard what people saying. Yeah, I wish I could get a Neo. I mean, Bomber is the clear choice when there's two opposing Neos on the field. I'm already seeing a mistake I must have made last turn. Okay, so this guy definitely shouldn't be here. Should be in the forest, so I'd be able to do tank, infantry hit, infantry on city. Because this tank can't reach. As is, I might just clear it anyway. Just the equivalent of over here, right? But I don't think he can hit me with two tanks, so we'll just... Well, I am a Sonya as well, so... Oh, I actually got it. See, normally, if I had been planning better, this guy would have been here, so he would have been able to do this hit, and then this guy could step onto the city. On the road is worse. That covers this guy better. Lab capture. This is a better position for front switching, but it's a worse position for punishing anything that happens up here. I guess we'll go here. This is a better spot. Gives me vision of that city, and that person can step on the city, and these guys can hit from either side, and the tank can hit. Okay. And then walk like this. I need to go down here. Well, let's do that so that the idea with this move is that it blocks this tile off from being available, or at least easily available to hit this infantry. So when the tank comes in and sits here to hit this tank, it takes up one of the two squares that are available to kill this infantry. So if there was two tanks available to hit this tank, they can't do it. The first one hits here, and then the second one can't get past this infantry, because even if there's two infantry over here, which I don't see, they wouldn't be able to go bam and bam. That's the idea. think. Go recon. Well, oh, okay. What happened on my opponent's turn here? The comm tower. Get some infantry around. There's a medium tank. And hit this pipe scene. Okay. Take that city. Kill my anti-air. Let me just sit here. Chance not to kill. Oh well. Try and just get my power here. The infantry would be pretty good. Killing these two infantry is huge. They're the only infantries on this entire front. Okay. So 4, 5, 6. That does hit me. He hits from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I can do that. I want to with the power. I think we just. Here. I'm losing a lot to do this, but I didn't get the power. No, it's okay. Then we can try and go for that. For this. I think this is just better. If I go for this, though, take me out with tank from forest. Plains. I think the forest lets him do it. Knocks me down to 6. The forest doesn't let him do it. 54 max. Well, it could potentially do it. I think we'll just take out this tank. Or potentially take out. There we go. One, two, three, four, five, six. That's okay. Here. 5, 6. Build a bomber. Just break through. I think I am not really in a rush, so copter. Maybe a mistake there. Artillery. Tank. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to lose a lot of stuff over here. But it should be a lot of income denial. We'll see. Okay, easy peasy. No one even took their turn while I was taking my turns. We can go on to some replays then. Andy versus Olaf, wow. Wait, did you win as Andy? That's still a tough matchup for Andy. The snow is so strong. It's so snow. Okay. Well, first we'll do Advanced Warriors game. Just switch over to the actual. There we go. Aha. This is another one of those classic matchups. Almost every tier 1 matchup is classic, but this one is especially so. Just because they're both pretty strong generalists. Your games are never boring. Okay. Here we go. Penguins go a-marching. Looking like identical openings so far. Now, in this kind of matchup, Von Bolt really wants to bully Hawk early on, because that plus 10% defense makes a huge difference. Okay. Advanced Warrior as Hawk has gone for an early tank. Totally fine. As well as a very early capture right of this city. I'm not so sure about. I'm saying that because it looks very difficult to actually hold. You'll note that there's 4 infantry coming down towards it. So while rushing contested properties is good, it's only really good if you can continually hold the city. Otherwise, you can end up just losing the infantry and then losing the city. Okay, artillery and tank on this side. Very weirdly, Advanced Warrior does not go straight for the airport. Went for this city instead. I would, over here, also didn't go for the city. Well, looks like they're going for the comm tower, I guess. Ooh. That's a very brave city cap. So if this airport had been captured first, next turn a copter could be built and immediately pressure everything over here. Which is a big deal. Conversely, over here, the airport also is delayed. I'm not seeing any way that this city gets held. Yeah. Oh, weird. So the infantry walked down here not to go for the comm tower, but to go for this city instead. I thought for sure, it'd be like a double comm tower play. Okay, so definitely mistakes were made with going a little too aggressive with these infantry. For Advanced Warrior. I'm not sure why Von Bolt is sending this guy in here. It's not covered by the artillery, and it's one of the few infantry actually over here, so usually you want to preserve those for captures. I don't know why the city. I guess this is because this tank could reach. We've built the copter here. I missed that. Ooh. I guess that's fine. That's not enough of a join, though. It still one-shots that, so I wouldn't join there unless you were going to do a the join with the full health one. Not sure why this artillery got brought over here. Unless its plan is to try and take the base. Yeah, there's the one shot. I like the copter being built here. So something you could have done last turn is you could have continued this capture and then moved the artillery in range of the other artillery, and then they're forced to either let you have the comm tower or give you an artillery strike on them. Oh, I guess this does cover there. This is another thing you can do, is you can start this capture and then hit the artillery with your copter. And then they can't actually get your copter unless they move the artillery, and then you get your comm tower. Okay, well, you're gonna get your comm tower here, which is nice. So this was the play I was talking about before. The aggressive Von Bolt infantry are doing some serious work, though. He's also going to get his comm tower. Well, I guess this artillery was bought to deal with the lander. Fine. So, normally you don't really want to go in here, just because you're vastly outnumbered in infantry. So if you're going to be the aggressor, they can just all jump on you. Hey, y'all. I guess having this tank here does mean this copter can strike from over here if it wants to. But yeah, I like going over here with him. So usually when you're fighting against Von Bolt, you're going to want to have some more artillery, just because it helps deal with the extra defense. And also getting bigger tanks can help. Especially when you're playing as Hawk, because you have some healing. Lots of sacrifices going on. I'm not even sure if that... Okay, that did kill with the sacrifice. Whoa. Okay. We're going for first strike central here. So if we look at this attack, what I would prefer is copter first hits this tank. Then you can have a tank come in, sit on the city, finish off this tank. Then you can have a tank hit this anti-air, which will do nice damage. And then this copter can hit this artillery. And then you won't lose your copter because the anti-air will be seriously injured. You won't lose any tanks because the artillery is seriously injured. And you won't have any damaged tanks because this copter will have taken the first strike from this tank. But in this case, there you have a slight problem because the anti-air is at full health, so you're gonna end up losing a copter for it. Okay, I like that you're being kind of careful with these tanks so they can't get ganged up on too much, and kind of shifting away from the losing front's good. I'm not sure what this tank's doing. A little far forward. The problem with it is the tank plus anti-air with artillery backup is going to completely crush it. Although they might not go for it because that is in base reinforcement range. Whoa. That's a really weird hit. Asmon Bolt definitely just killed the infantry. You don't really want to injure the recon. I'm not sure why this wasn't blocked off with an infantry. Hey, just keep this guy here. Oh no, you had to bring it up to kill that guy. Okay, well, just change, I guess, different artillery placement so it's over here. You just don't want it so it can be easily picked off. I mean, I guess he does lose the tank for it. It's not that bad. Oh, I can buy lander. You can always preserve your lander if it's going to die in the next shot. That's not that bad to lose it. It does give you a lot of charge. Ooh, it sucks that they got that kill. Okay, so something to keep in mind that's really nice about copters is they can often do hits that other units can't get to. So usually I wouldn't want to have my copter in a spot that a tank could definitely hit. Like if I was looking at this and I want to use this tank against this tank, I'd probably try and do a wraparound so I'm not taking any other sides up. Very nice. I mean, I would definitely start cap here with the full health guys. Nice little trap though. Got full retreat. Makes sense to me. Yeah, this is a somewhat unfortunate situation. I guess it's not that bad. Von Bolt could, in theory, get his power first. But that's not so bad as Hawk. Because then you do heal up the 3 damage. It doesn't look like he's going to go for anything quite so sneaky. Okay. Things are looking pretty dire over here. You probably want to build a medium tank. Ooh, Von Bolt's floating a lot of cash. Pretty good heal. Pretty good damage. Yeah, the copters get to have a field day here. I guess this copter's going for this guy. So, another case where we can look at this turn here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this copter can hit from the river, so it's not taking up a tile that a tank could use. You could go copter hits, tank sits on the base. And there's nothing he can do about that. All he'd have left is a 2 health tank over here. And now you can't do that because this guy's blocking the spot that the tank can go. And you could have kept this guy trapped. Okay. And the mass damage is, of course, really nice when people are trying to capture your properties, because it slows everything down for free, essentially. So that attack did a ton of damage to Von Bolt. Looks like his super's going to hit over here, which kind of sucks. Wow. Stuns almost everything on that front. But he doesn't really have any good attacks to take with his extra stats, so honestly, that works out really well for you. I'm not quite sure why that tank just took a step back. I'm sure it had bigger dreams. I mean, at this point over here, I would start eating infantry, because you have the copter, and if you brought this tank over here, I guess you couldn't do that because there was an anti-air in the way. You could have just killed the anti-air, I guess. Like, I wouldn't sit on the city. I would just kill this guy. At this point, you have enough stuff. Vehicles in comparison to what Von Bolt has in reach, that you'll win the brawl. No battleship. Yeah. I don't think... Advanced Warrior doesn't have the harbor, so I can't build the battleship. The battleships are very good at absorbing Von Bolt supers. Okay. I'm not quite sure what Von Bolt is pressuring here. Because they're not all protected, but at least some of them are protected by this anti-air, which is something. I wouldn't be spending tank hits or really pretty much any hits to kill this lander. You can just ignore it if you want. Yeah, like those units were not being protected enough to warrant a wall like that. So it's kind of just a bunch of free shots. And there's a medium tank. Like to see it. Very good in this matchup. That is a very risky thing to do when you're falling behind in every metric, except for income a little bit right now, because right now Von Bolt's down in unit count, and there's 2 units being sent way back up here, also down in like unit value. So building this transport copter makes your army even weaker. This is looking like a very nice front switch. Very nice front switch. The copters are a big deal because it makes holding this choke a lot harder when they can attack from the sea tiles. Copter's only got 1 shot left. Oh no! If your copter's down to 1 shot out of ammo, I would definitely join it with a 7 health copter. Because when you join, you get full ammo and full fuel, and then you get a nice refund. Okay. Von Bolt's trying to punish the front switch. A little risky to do that with the AA, because things can, of course, come back and tank can hit the AA. Ooh. Very spicy. I like this. because you can do triple copter. Oh, this copter can't reach there. Never mind. Okay, so you can do copter strike here, and then tank strike here. Clear this tank, and then I'd like to. I guess I don't know. Oh, okay, not clearing the tank. That's fine. Yeah, just hitting the artillery is totally fine. And then attacking up here. Ooh. I like it. The copter with no ammo is the one that's exposed. The anti-air. Oh, didn't come back and hit this guy. I would definitely recommend coming back and hitting this guy. It's okay. Well, that's great news for you and your Hawk. That's pretty much just giving you charge, and you'll heal up half of that with your super anyway. Okay, when you're Von Bolt and you're fighting Hawk, it's kind of like fighting Andy. You don't want to do like attacks like this for the most part. You want to like just kill this guy off. I'm not sure what this T-copter is doing. It's sitting on a C tile. So the only thing it's actually blocking is this copter. One, two, three, four, five. Ooh, nice. Take that out. You see that Hawk is getting really close to the super, so he just gets to take a ton of attacks over here. And be very happy. Alright, well, medium tank into the copter. No! 5-4, we run! Go for your super. No! No! So, there's a few ways you can get your super here. This will help get your charge. I'd probably sacrifice this copter and then slam stuff in to his units. And then super at the end of the turn and be very, very happy. Don't join your units to just get the full health. Your Hawk, you heal. I mean, it's fine because you're already way ahead, so. So it's not gonna super hurt, but like in this case, they basically have to kill 2 units instead of just killing 1. It's fine. Again, I mean, in this case, really, you don't want to sacrifice them. This is a 4 health infantry. It's not 2 health. He's been trapped. Okay. I'm not quite sure what's going on over here. Because you want to kill this. So probably what you want to do is anti-air here to kill the infantry. And then once you use your super, you can medium tank in here and then block with a copter. Black Storm. I mean, the value difference is huge. Yeah, I like the attacks. This poor guy didn't have to die, but it's fine. I like the trap you got going on over here. Those are always fun. Good to look out for. Now, Von Bolt's in a lot of trouble. The super looks like it's going to land over here. The nav on bolt's a little sad that all the artillery died. Because when a Vubble has artillery and like a super lands like this, he gets to just move his artilleries in like here and here. And then these guys can't move next turn. And then you get to fire on these guys. It's almost like being Eagle. Advanced Warrior is choking a bit. I don't know about that. There's been some questionable plays for sure. But I think that's just part of getting used to the matchup and seeing some like tactics. Tactics take a lot of just practice to start seeing them all over the place. Eagle. Yeah, going for these big tanks, I definitely approve. Hey, this guy's own Neo tank. He's totally fine, and then he resigns. Yeah, I think that's a fair resign. Down in unit count, down 4K in income. At the end of the turn, being down 30K in unit value. That's rough. So well played, well played. Definitely, I would say there might just be move planner stuff that would help. Just move planning out the turn to see if you can spot any tactics. The biggest thing I was seeing was battlecopters standing where you want your tanks to be standing instead of attacking from battlecopter only tiles. Was messing you up a bit there. Especially this turn. I feel like you should definitely be looking to see if you can just shut down the base like that. But GG. Okay. A game from Brassmac, and then we got some new people coming up after that. Oh, this is against Lamasama. What is the Andy versus Olaf? I've got a game. One of my games is against the Lamasama. New people demos. That'll be coming up next. All right, Brassmac. Let's see you do your stuff here. Lamasama is repping the Penguins for us here. I've decided I'm not going to take people off the Penguins anymore. They've seen the way. Okay. I don't think it matters which one you go for, but I guess it's so that you can unload right here next turn. That makes sense. Hey, T-Copter in the house. I, of course, am a big fan of T-Copter openers. Always. And I think this is a good map for it. Ooh, double T-Copter map game. But the real question will be, does anyone go double T-Copter in the double T-Copter game? Ooh. Okay. Gonna unload here. This guy, I think, moved one more tile. I don't think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't think it matters for anything, but it's fancy. 'Cause 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 I don't think it succeeds too much tempo. No. If they go for the pipe seam break, well, you go for a T-copter. Or when you get the T-copter until you're on the same turn. So you'll get a lot more economy while they're not pressuring you because they're busy breaking their pipe seam. The pipe seam break is more of a medium or like a mid-game tempo move. Whoa. T-copter followed up by double recon. Hey, Lamasama with their very own boost. I'm not as big of a fan of this T-copter placement. That's okay. It doesn't have anyone to pick up next turn. So slow with vehicle pressure on this map? Oh, you already said. Well, your vehicle pressure isn't going to come from the pipe seam breaking. The pipe seam breaking is going to be for when you've got constant production going on. You're getting urges to start making spreadsheets for openings. People have done it. It's never been my style, but I understand it. Okay, I think I like the recon, the T-copter into recon. It's a little bit weak, and by a little bit I mean very weak against tank first stuff, which I imagine is pretty popular on this map. But against another T-copter opening, should be pretty solid. You can submit replays by DMing them to me on Discord. Starflash has never played before. Yeah. How do you know if it's a good map to build early recon or transport? So for transports, there's a few things you can look for. Like in this map, the T-copter is kind of just a gimme because the airport is within 3 tiles of this base. So you can immediately go into a T-copter very easily as soon as you build it. And there's lots of terrain that you get to skip over. The other thing, if you're looking for if it's going to be a good map for boosting, is you want to look at properties that are 7 movement away from your base, because you do a free boost of 1 extra tile. Which I don't know if there is any here. I think most of it's not going to be boosting. It's going to be just straight up transporting. I'm not seeing any. That's okay. Lots of other maps do. And that's how you would, for transport in general, you'd want to use it in that case. And then for recons, you're going to know if it's a good recon map if the infantry, if there's anything like this mountain, where the infantry are going to get past it a lot faster than the vehicle will, because that means there'll be a lot of exposed infantry on the map. So for instance, over here, the recon's not going to be as strong, right? Because the tanks can kind of just flow out here along the same path of the infantry. But over here, the vehicles cannot support these infantry. So everything over here is going to be much more exposed to recons. And that's the kind of thing you'd be looking for. Okay, this was a little bit of a blunder from Brasmac. You'd want to go here with the T-Copter before you move this guy, and then you boost him, and then you're lined up for the next infantry. Which would be a pretty big deal, right? Because right now, this is the guy that's going to jump into this copter, and then the next guy will just be here. Or if the copter had been here, this guy would be here, and then it would be able to move all the way to here, and then this guy would be the one going in the copter. So you'd still have a guy going pretty much the same distance to the right here. But instead of having an infantry right here, you would have an infantry right over here, which is a huge difference. Or you could boost it up and go there. You know, there's lots of stuff. Generally, are double recon good openings? Yes, I would say double recons are often very good openings. The idea with going double recon is they get one tank and you have 2 recons. And so as long as the recons... So you have a choice if you go double recon. If you're going to attack a spot that they can't defend very easily with tanks, then 2 recons will be really good because they can provide vision for each other and kind of bunny hop through infantry hits. If it's a map where they can defend their stuff, then they can't defend against both recons is the idea. One of the recons is going to get warded off by a tank, and the other one is going to get some hits. And oftentimes, the one that gets warded off by a tank is going to survive because the fight's happening before a comm tower gets captured. If you are defending against a recon, killing the recon is huge. So you like if the recon hit your infantry or something, or it's like nearby one of your captures that you're taking, and then you hit with a tank, you stop that capture and you go over and you finish off that recon. It's so good to kill an early recon, and it's so meh to just injure one, because an injured recon still sees just as well as a full health one. Of course, if you can injure it, you're still going to injure it so it can't harass you as much. You have to remember in Fog of War, information is another one of the metrics that you kind of measure how well people are playing the game. Not how what's the word? One of the metrics that you can measure how good someone is doing in the game. How much someone's losing or winning by, you know, that kind of thing. Kind of like unit count and unit value is a metric for telling if someone's winning or not. There we go. Information is another one that's in Fog of War that you don't have in Standard. And vision is one of the big things that gives you that information that you need. You can be ahead in every single metric. You have better positioning, have better, have stronger units, have more income. But then if your opponent can do like a really good front switch on you because you don't have good information, you'll still lose. Which is part of what gives Fog more of a comeback mechanic than Standard. Is you can, even if you have less units, you can still win engagements as long as you're picking really good ones. There was one game with Tordred where you sent 1 recon top and 1 recon bottom. You had 3 tanks in the middle already and just ran you down from there. It sounds like that sounds like really slow recons. If you want to go double recon, it has to be really, really fast. Like my game is as Jess on First Step into Fog. Those are as soon as possible recons. I don't know that game, but That is what I assume has happened. There shouldn't be a way that you go double recon and they counter it with 3 tanks. Okay. So the recon got to live over here, which is huge. And this recon, I don't think it's done much damage. The Lamasama going into copters is very good. It's kind of an interesting matchup because both Olaf and Andy have very strong copters for very different reasons. Olaf has really strong copters because he makes it snow. So everything that can counter copters slows down a lot, and it gives his copters lots more opportunities. He also does global damage, which gives copters better chances to kill. But Andy has good copters because he, of course, heals them up after copter fights and after chip damage and everything. He's got really like long-lasting durable copters that are great in brawls. So they're both very good copter COs for very different reasons. So I'm a little bit concerned. What I like is that Lamasama is bringing his vehicles down here to help this infantry fight. Infantry fights like this, when they break out, are always terrifying. Because if one person brings any vehicle to them, it just completely collapses. Anti-copters are double-edged swords, as copters can get one shot. Well, that's true for everyone's copters, and it takes a lot of practice and kind of just general sense to start using copters really well. Because if you mess up positioning with copters, then yeah, they just kind of die. But if you don't mess up positioning with your copters, which having good information game will help with a lot, then they can kind of live forever. In general, you don't want to have your copters in front unless you just have impeccable information, you know where all their anti-airs are. Things you often want to do with copters is if there's like a tank like this tank right here, you have copter and tank. Copter hits first, then tank, and you take no damage. You take a little bit of chip damage on the copter. And it's like an exposed forward tank, so you can then bring your stuff over to protect your copter. Sturm copters are wild. They're so tanky. And I like Andy mechs. Mechs are just slightly harder to kill than infantry. And they benefit a lot from Andy's super. They get a ton of value from healing. They get a ton of value from an extra square of movement, and they get a ton of value from extra damage. And then just that being that little bit bulkier, a little bit more bulk, means they survive often at really low hit points, or if they get hit like on defensive terrain, they'll get knocked down to like 4, which is basically perfect. In this case, it got knocked down to 2, and then it would heal from the city, and then it gets healed from the super, and then it's at 9. It hits a tank as hard as a tank does. So Andy's definitely one of the better mech users. Not as good as Sammy, of course. Because Sammy gets a ton of attack power boost. And a cheaper +1 move and gets up to the +2 move and all that. I would say Adder is, or Andy is like on par with Adder for being a good mech user. I'd say he's probably better than Cole. Or just as good as Cole. If you're making this many mechs, though, I would recommend at least one more T-Copter. Ooh, and he just barely missed the super. I don't think he wanted to use the super anyway, but he just barely missed it. Ooh. It is very risky for Olaf. Might just be using the power here. Probably not, though. Okay. So the mass damage against Andy, it's always kind of a game of chicken. Of who uses their power first and gets punished more by the other person's power. And the way you decide when you're going to use your power is how much damage you can do on the turn that you use it. So if we're looking at Andy here, yeah, I probably wouldn't use the power. I would use his super if it let these guys get involved in this attack. Then I would definitely use the super. Otherwise, you can just kind of hold on to it. And if Olaf can't just do a willy-nilly Blizzard, or not Blizzard, whatever his super's called, Winter Fury, like he can do in every other matchup. In every other matchup, he just hits his super and says, ha 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 ha, your units are really slow. I just took 2 HP off of all of them. But against Andy, he can't just brainlessly hit the button. He needs to set up a good attack with it. The snow is a huge deal, though. It slows down so much. So another thing you can do as Olaf against COs that heal, like Hawk and Andy, is that you just don't rely on your super. You'll notice that Olaf has a very nice feature here. He's got 3 bars for the normal power and 4 bars for the super power. That means he can do adder stuff. He can do double normal power in a row, which is huge. You can go normal power, attack. Next turn, you attack again to build up a little more charge. You don't need to build up a little more charge, but you can build up a little more charge to try and get 3 turns of snow. And then you do your attack, you make it snow again. And then the next turn, you do another attack. And it's very possible to get up to a 3rd normal power. And 3 turns of snow means that any fight that's happening on the front lines will have no reinforcements, pretty much. So that's something that Olaf, that if you're, I guess, ever wanting to main as Olaf, something you should definitely have in your repertoire is being, is the Winter Fury, is being very comfortable just using Blizzard. Okay, so we'll see how good this Winter Fury is. And yeah, Andy can also use the normal power. Okay, so it looks like this was mostly used to just attack down here, which isn't that bad. You can see that, I mean, it's not going to do much up here, but you can see that even when Andy uses his super, if he does, this copter will still not be able to reach this copter, because everything, copters are now taking 2 move per tile, so giving them +1 move doesn't actually change anything. Okay, it does go for the super. You don't have to. You could always normal power and then set yourself up to normal power again. But if we look at this copter, you can see it's not any faster. The AA does get to connect though, which is nice. I would probably... I think the mech's the only thing that could have reached around. I guess so. Ooh, not getting this kill sucks, because now this mech can't hit there. Yeah, I think that was probably, as you can see, there's like no fighting that happens up here. So I think Andy would have gotten more out of a normal power there. But it's fine. After all, Olaf used super. So super for supers is always okay. I like that an anti-air got built. Anti-air went in, killed the copter in a very vulnerable spot, built another anti-air. Very, very good practice. And there you go. Nice and bulky mechs doing their job. Surviving at low health. I think this rocket, yeah, it's in range of this. That's some pretty fast rocket value. Usually you don't get it that early, but yeah, it's going to hit that anti-air. Okay. So Andy does look like he's in a pretty good spot. He's down a little bit in unit count, but it's not that big of a deal because this is an ongoing brawl situation. So you can never really trust those numbers until a brawl has settled down. As you can see, units be dying. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's a roll to see if 2 tanks can kill a transport copter. I'm perfectly fine with this attack. Maybe over here is a little aggressive. That's okay. Anytime you're attacking and you're within base range, then you're probably being a little aggressive. Okay, I like the blizzard. I'm not sure. You hate to see it. If the copter had hit from here, though, it would have been safe. Usually, I can understand using the blizzard to try and get like the stat boost. Usually when you're using blizzard, it's because you're trying to isolate a force that you're attacking, because it can't run away and it can't be reinforced very well. That's a little bit... a tiny bit earlier resign, but I understand it. You are going to get these 2 properties, but lose this 1 property. You're really far ahead in unit count, but I guess these guys are going to hurt you quite a bit. And it is fog. And you're behind in unit value by a lot. Save you, Lamasama. So I think that was a very well played game in general. Just a few things I would have liked to have seen in terms of how the powers were used. But it's always really tricky in that matchup. Okay, so this is a new submitter. Shadower 122. Hey, Lazy Boy is someone we've actually shown quite a few games of. Alright, Shadow, we're gonna turn you into the penguins. Now, this is a very difficult matchup. This is, new viewer submissions. This is a very tough matchup. In Standard, these two are the same tier. In Fog, Sammy is a lot worse. So Sammy's tier 4. Depending on the map, she's like tier 5. Eagle is very solidly tier 2. But there is some fun. There's some fun Sammy only stuff you can do on this map with transport copters. This is also a very strong copter map, which Eagle also likes a lot. What makes Sammy so much weaker in Fog? There's a few things. The maps, in this case, this map is kind of nice because it's somewhat closed, but the maps are much more open in Fog. So vehicles are a lot stronger because they can maneuver and find different angles, and they can take you down. You can't guarantee any infantry bullying like you can in Standard, where you can be like, well, my infantry is just going to beat your infantry, and I can guarantee that we're going to have an infantry versus infantry fight because I can see where all the units are moving around. You just can't do that in Fog. You can never guarantee you're having infantry versus infantry fights. There's usually a vehicle that comes over. As soon as vehicles get involved in the fight, Sammy is just going to be a lot weaker. And there's a lot more recons that get used in Fog. And recons are very good at killing off infantry that are capturing. For Sammy, she'll still get the capture. The recon will come up, it'll hit you, and then you'll get your capture next turn, but then the recon kills your infantry. And once you run out of infantry as Sammy, because all of your powers rely on having infantry, as soon as you don't have any, you're just a negative day-to-day CO. You just have minus 10% on all of your vehicles, except for your indirect ones. And it's very, very, very easy to run out of infantry. You also have the problem of it's harder to set up victory marches because you can't actually see all of your opponent's cities. Which means when you go for a victory march and you try and take a bunch of cities, sometimes you'll get trapped, but oftentimes you'll still get the city. Your opponent will have a bunch of stuff around that you just move towards, and they'll kill your infantry, and then they'll just take the city back, and then you'll be out of infantry. Nice little boost, and the maps are a lot bigger too. So vehicles are stronger because they move faster. Ooh, Lazy Boy is going for a double recon opener, but it's a delayed double recon opener, slightly weaker. Oh, that's a weird move. So you can hop in here right now. You get dropped off way down here. You can even get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you can drop off. I don't know why it's not showing me your movement, but you can be dropped off right here if you want. You can go for this city. You can also try and go for the comm tower really fast, but it looks like Lazy Boy is onto those shenanigans. So usually you wouldn't move down here quite yet. You would do a really big drop off and then you'd move back here. But this is fine. This is more moving towards the middle. Yeah, you did a little boost here. And in this case, it's going to work out really well for you because this recon's coming over to deal with this stuff. Yeah. But now this forward boost is going to be slower. But you could, of course, go into the middle with it. Okay. Okay, I would prefer bringing a guy down here first and then coming back, but it's fine. It still works out. And this way you get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you don't actually see him go into that city or that forest. That sucks. Okay, so when you're playing as Sammy, while going fast artillery is really tempting, you often need to actually go fast tanks to deal with the recons that are coming your way and then get artillery later on. Yeah, because this is rough. You still get the city. I guess it's not gonna be that bad because you have a tank on the way, luckily. So the recon will probably get scared away. But if it doesn't get scared away, you still lose the infantry. And this is the nice thing about Sammy on this map is, unlike in a lot of fog maps, there are some very good positions to put mechs. But you do need to be, of course, very cautious about the airports on both sides of the map. Okay, he just backs up. That's fine. Backs up. Ooh. As Eagle, I'd probably go a copter over an anti-air at this point. I don't think the money quite lined up for it. Alright, this is kind of nice. Depending on if this artillery goes to protect them. Okay, it looks like it just stood here. That's fine. It's a little bit risky because well, it is against the weak side, so it's not that risky. It's always a tiny bit risky to actually get involved in sending infantry out without any protection, because your infantry are your precious babies. But so far, I really like what you've been doing with your infantry pressure, and you've got the mechs over here. They reacted very well against the recon and warded it off. We've got an AA ready for this copter. I think the tank's a little aggressive, but it works out. Looking pretty good on this side. And having the artillery in these really annoying forests is always good. Over here, a little mech strike. You wouldn't be able to reach that guy, okay. It's fine. Ooh, the copter doesn't quite reach, that's perfect. Yeah, this map does have a lot of forests on it, which is in general kind of fine. What I don't like is these double forests. The problem with double forests in fog is that you now have a forest occupying one of the sides that you need to reveal a forest from. So if you have two units in here, they shield each other. very well. And they can be incredibly difficult to crack into. This map does have some turn advantage shenanigans, if I remember correctly. I think it's second turn advantage. But I like the map in general. I like all the transport shenanigans. There we go. That you can get into. And I kind of like the mountain layouts. There's still some open areas. The center is awful. Okay. So things are looking pretty decent for Sammy here. Definitely want to retreat over here. The vehicles have started to show up. Attacking over here is a little bit risky. But you do have the anti-air, you do have the double mech, so I understand it. Ooh. That's a pretty good I like the little front switch into the middle with artillery backup. You have to keep in mind, of course, that the units you were just fighting are still here, and they can sandwich you. A very nice blocker. Okay. Ooh, this is a tough call. I think Lazy Boy probably... No, this is a full health infantry. It's fine. I understand stepping on the comm tower because you're against Sammy. And this is a full health guy, so it probably won't break. Okay, I think this is where a little bit of the sandwich action comes in. Yeah, which definitely hurts. And now if we look at the situation on this side, Sammy's down to 4 infantry. And everything else is vehicles. Everything being built on this side is vehicles. So Sammy is becoming just a negative CO. On this side, Sammy's starting to run out of infantry. Still has these 2 mechs. Still has some actual upside. And if you look at what happens with the power charge now, as these powers start getting built up, Sammy super scales, both of Sammy's powers scale exactly with how many foot soldiers she has, where Eagle's power scales with the number of vehicles he has. And it's really good to keep building vehicles in a fight continuously because they're a lot stronger to fight with. So the more of these fights that go on, and Sammy like loses a couple infantry, loses some vehicles, more vehicles get built on both sides, and that just favors Eagle more and more and more. On day 12, you decide if you want to kill this copter. You decide not to? Is that the correct move? How are you going to kill the copter? 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to kill it with mech, 3 health, tank, infantry, sneak in, kill copter. The only... I think you would kill the copter because of the what you see over here. Trick is what you do with this mech. I think you have to preserve your 3 health infantry for Victory March. So you'd go mech, then him, tank, infantry, helicopter. Because you have... You have really good backup. Yeah, I think you should probably kill the copter. But DJ's advice was attack on one side, then retreat on the other. Well, when DJ's is saying attack on one side and retreat on the other, that's usually if you're going heavy one side. Or in this case, you're not going heavy on one side. You're very much split with. I mean, you are heavier on this side, but you do have quite a few vehicles already built on this side, so it's fine to attack with that. It's not as risky to attack into this. It is the strong side, and this is your weak side, but you've seen units come in from the strong side over here to kill your stuff, so there can't be that much over here. In general, I think in this case, because you have copter backup, you have another mech, then I'd be more comfortable with it. It can be really risky to use a very forward anti-air to kill a copter that just came from the airport, because then you trade your anti-air out, and it takes you like 3 turns to get it back there, and they just immediately replace the copter. Yeah, I would say probably should have killed the copter, but that's always a tough call to take. Or to make. Looks like everything's gonna swap over here. Copter just runs away. Yeah, you can see that the problem is starting to happen over here. Although you're doing pretty well in the fight. And this is one of Sammy's really big strengths in Fog and in Standard, is how much people have to commit to actually stop your caps. In this case, you can do it because he is force built a copter. I imagine you get wiped out this turn because this is looking like a lightning strike turn. Yeah. I don't think killing the copter would have made a difference here. I think all it does is kill an infantry or a mech, which is a big deal. But yeah. Yeah. You were feeling good this turn? Yeah. And then you realize, and then Eagle says, no, I'm actually a tier 2 CO. Yeah, I've been fighting you without my power this whole time. And then you resign, yeah. And there's nothing really Sammy can usually do in a situation like this, right? Sammy's down to a few infantry and mechs. Hit victory march, maybe take a city or two. And then those units die. And then how do you fight off an army? You have to build vehicles. You can't just build infantry to try and defend. This is because of the CO. You did not do badly. I think you played that very well. The only thing you can really do better as playing Sammy and Fog is you have to be like really passive and try and maintain your infantry, and you just can't let stuff like this happen. You just lose some guys and your infantry get before, and then more infantry die, and then you're out of the game. It's so difficult to play Sammy and Fog. You were really hoping he didn't get his lightning strike. But as soon as Eagle is within like 3, even here it's somewhat possible. But especially here, that's a lightning strike. And of course, since Eagle can just do it at the end of his turn, or he's always going to do it at the end of his turn, it's so much wiggle room for getting it. And we'll see if we have enough time to do another one of your games later. Can I not actually click it? Oh, I see. Face to right, face to left, okay. Standard player. He only gets lightning because he sacks anti-attacking your tank. That's true. But he had a lot of wiggle room because he can always sack copters. This is the bloodbath. Okay, let's see. Max against Kindle. Looking good so far. I would imagine that Max has the advantage on this map. But there are some very good properties. Went for very fast. Went straight to tanks with Max. I would probably consider recons. That's more me. I think tanks are definitely most people's go-to. And Kindle's response is an artillery on the other side of the map. That is really weird. Okay. Does lock the city down. Okay. I mean, Max is probably not upset at all about getting this hit. But Max could also, if Max really wanted to, Max can also take this hit. It's a little risky though. and then build another tank. It would be a Kindle tank against you, so it's probably not a good idea. If it wasn't Kindle, for sure. No worry. No worries. You're welcome. I'm sure we'll get to see another one. Whoa! Okay. The idea here is that the artillery kills the infantry, and then the recon gets to hit the artillery. So, as Max here, I would prefer to go recons first and then go with tanks. Basically, if you can, whenever you can build a tank, you can instead build double recon. So, this is a very cheeky play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It does lose the tank, though. So standard player builds a tank here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Can keep this cap going, can kill this. If the recon comes in, the tank can wrap around and hit it. Recons are good. Okay, doesn't go for that. Instead, just moves the artillery back. It's fine. It does help cover this city. But then builds a tank. Well, then I would probably stay here, kill this, and get the cap going. Okay, we got some nice infantry fights over here. Recon sadly can't free this tank. Not that they would get the one shot anyway. Ooh, does the tank not reach that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The tank does reach that. I guess kind of overloading that tank. It wants to hit this tank. It wants to hit this recon. It wants to hit this recon. Okay, and this recon's being guarded by 2 tanks. Okay. So when you're using recons in standard, of course, there's a few things you can do with them. I'm surprised that this guy lived. That's forest privilege right there. That even with the comm tower, it lived? Oh, I see, I see. So the nice thing about recons is, of course, they cost 4,000, and the counter unit to a recon is a tank, which almost costs twice as much. So you get to attack aggressively, targeting their economy, and while targeting their economy, you make them have to invest a stronger unit, a more expensive unit against you, a significantly more expensive unit. Now, the downside to a recon is, of course, it's nowhere near as strong as a tank. So once you reach into the mid game, if you're relying on a bunch of recons against a bunch of tanks, you're going to be in trouble. But the other really good thing about recons is that tanks want to hit them. And when tanks move forward to hit a unit, that starts an engagement. But of course, a recon's cheap. It only costs 4,000. So you can start engagements with your recons. And that's different than starting an engagement with your infantry, right? Because if I start this tack here and use an infantry, other infantry can beat me up, and then the vehicle engagement doesn't start immediately. But if I use a recon, other infantry cannot just beat up a recon. They have to use a tank, and now I have initiated a vehicle engagement for the cost of just a recon. And that's something that Max likes a lot, is he's got really strong tanks. So I like that John is getting a lot of use out of overloading units, right? This tank would love to get a first strike from a city on a tank, but it can't get a first strike on a city against all the tanks it wants to get it. And this is something you kind of get used to. I would highly recommend using a lot. It's like, well, I don't really want to get first struck, but since I'm already going to get first struck, I can go for more engagements like this. It's something you usually start developing when fighting artillery, because you fight into the artillery range. You're like, well, the artillery is already going to shoot at one thing. I might as well just wipe out all of the artillery's defenders. Okay, so there's the strike here. It's also, I would probably, personally, I would probably go up here and hit this one, because this guy is defended immediately by these other tanks, where this guy's just all alone. And you'd be on a city to heal. But I understand going for this infantry hit. Okay. Oh no. I would not recommend that Urban Blight. You want to save that Urban Blight, because there's a lot of cities to strike from. And the really strong part about Urban Blight is that it, of course, makes your day-to-day power just double in power. It goes to 80 plus 80%. Top tank was not important. Why is the top tank not important? These tanks aren't very important. There's no infantry immediately in range to start this capture. There's infantry up here to start doing stuff. Oh, Kindle wanted to delay the comm tower? Okay. Here comes the max force. You wanted to keep his economy down. With the repair costs? I mean, the repair costs are annoying, but they're not why you use the power. Not if you want to win. Because that's like super long term, I guess, thinking. The repair cost like an extra tank or so. That it doesn't show up on the next like doesn't start fighting in 3 turns basically. In comparison to using your power and killing like 2 tanks or whatever on that turn immediately on the front lines. Couldn't max attack infantry on the left with the recon and answer the tank shot. Couldn't max attack infantry on the left with the recon. Oh, he kills it. Okay. You can think of it like if you use Kindle for her, I mean, there's definitely times when you just use Urban Blight to use Urban Blight. And those times are when, like, almost all the army is sitting on cities. If it's pretty much just what's being produced, it's like really, really, really weak global damage. If it's used like that. It's now John's turn to... Was this a live game? Yeah, there's the comm tower. If this guy stays on... Okay. Yeah. Okay, now this would be a pretty good Urban Blight. There's a... I don't know if you can actually reach that city, though. If you could reach that city, it'd be amazing. I don't think you can quite get your Urban Blight. Maybe. You can definitely get it, I think. Yeah, you got this strike down here. You might have had to attack from the road here instead. That's okay. The artillery are really nice, yeah. I'm surprised that Max doesn't just make a big death ball here. Well, it's a mixed base, so if you make it a big death ball, while this is a pretty scary thing to do, you do end up losing the rest of the map. I'm not quite sure where those well, where those guys joined. Oh, it's for the money? Gotcha, that makes sense. Okay, now we have an Urban Blight. Oh, that was pretty wimpy. It hit a medium tank and 4 infantry. You do get 1 attack from a city, though. It does slow this capture down by a single turn, but you're not in position to actually deny it. Doesn't it stop a single cap? For 1 turn? Gotcha. Semi-live over a few days. I mean, Kindle's power is kind of tricky. It's so tempting to just kind of spam it for the global damage aspect. But when you... Another thing about Kindle's power is when you have it active, or have it ready to use but don't use it, your opponent cannot do any repairs. I've never understood joining for money to not base skip. Well, you can look at it like this, where he could have had an infantry and a 5 health infantry, But instead he had a full health infantry. He had 2 full health infantry instead of a full health and a half health. Oftentimes you wouldn't want to do that on the front lines, but when it's right next to bases, then yeah. Whoa, Neo tank. So I think Kindle's doing pretty good here. The artillery are doing really, really well in the corners. Kindle's up 3k, but down in unit count. Whoa. Well, this is incredibly aggressive as Max to attack into the Neo tank. Okay. Well, this is another turn that would be really good for a Kindle power. I don't know if Kindle can get it. Looking pretty close. That's the kind of strike I would wait to see if I can get the power first. Because killing this guy is a huge deal because your city's down to 3. Oh. I don't quite understand. Okay. Nothing moved up here. I guess didn't want to do any like sacrificial attacks or anything like that to try and get to the power, which is totally fine. You are behind in unit count. No. Well, this would be a case as Max. I would look into somewhere else on the map to try and get the power to base lock this. I guess you can't really. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't quite permanently base lock it. Why has no one ever used the missiles? I know. One day we'll get the indirect that can fire infantry. And then we can use them. Okay. Or Neo tank. Trying to see if there's any So this is probably a turn where you don't use your power, because I'm not seeing any good uses for it. Oh, never mind. So John's definitely playing around the Kindle power. Lots of injured units that would love to be repairing, but they're not on cities. So just don't use the power. Just hold it. Yeah, Artie's job is to hold the area, nothing more. They're doing a good job. Immediately uses it, yeah. And you can see what happens the moment the Kindle power gets used. Like everything is like, oh, I can now stand on a city. I can now repair. I can now repair. I can repair. I can repair. I can repair up here. Kindle's got one of those powers that like is active while it's available but not being used. You can also, of course, look for sacrificial plays to when they do something like that to try and surprise them and be like, actually, you just had all of your units take 3 damage. But I didn't see any that were available to you to get that much charge. See, like the medium tank steps off. The tank steps off. There's this one here, which is kind of interesting that's sitting there. But now Max is prepared for the Kindle power. And so if we look what did this Kindle power get us? It wasn't needed for this. It wasn't even used yet, I guess. Hit you infantry. Hit this tank is the bonus tank target, and it gave you this 1 attack. It also hit this guy, so it did slow this cap down. Which is a bigger deal because it's one of your cities, and the economic flip is twice as painful. The Kindle is down in units, but way up in value. The artillery's wall barely holds. Holds against tanks, that is. The infantry do get through. Okay. I mean, this is looking pretty darn good for Kindle up here, and like fine for Kindle down here. Because this fight's happening near the base. Hello. Alrighty. Yeah, shoot the tank for sure. Shoot the tank for sure. Yeah, things are looking very good for Kindle right now. Most of Max's unit count advantages in these infantry in this bottom right. Which are fighting in base range, so it's not that scary. Song is an MVP on the playlist. I guess instead of shooting the tank, you could have denied this cap. But it's risky to do that. Okay, so you get the max normal power, which is going to hurt for this. I think this is, you're totally fine with these, whoa. These tanks getting hit. I'm surprised that Max conceded there. So I don't know why Max conceded there. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Because Max can move this infantry up here. I don't think it dies to tank infantry, so it stops the Neo tank from hitting this medium tank. Although Kindle will get the power and that will probably break it through. Max had just gotten an income lead. Hadn't built yet. A little bit behind in, well, quite a bit behind in unit value, but the unit count definitely makes up for it. There's a winner! Yeah, no answers to the Neo. That's relatively true. I guess this would be 10 health. Or no, you can smack an infantry into this to weaken it. And maybe this guy can hold. It looks a little bit early of a resign to me. But I get it. The ball of death. Neo tanks are good. Neo tanks are good, especially on maps where there's no bombers. Medium tanks don't, or Neo tanks deal with medium tanks really well. You can double medium tank to kill a Neo tank. It's a hard-fought game. Yeah. Neo tanks gobble up medium tanks pretty good. Okay. We've got a game from Cookie Lamb here. Ooh, with one of the rarer matchups that you ever see. We have Sturm against Sasha. New submitters, Pog. Okay. Oh, this is on Strike Through, the base light map. So as Sasha here, you definitely have a choice as to whether or not you try and just do complete and total copter spam. I probably would not go a recon. Or if you want to just tech up, and I think maybe tech up is going to be better on this map. Because the big boy tanks are going to have a field day. The reason I probably wouldn't go recon against Sturm, it's not that bad. It's going to pay off right here, so that's good. Is that I would have expected Sturm to have a ton of recons coming at me. In this case, Sturm is going to have a single recon, which is very, very light for Sturm. And this recon paid off immediately. And things are looking really good for Sasha. Anytime you can get captures like this off against Sturm, like completely unguarded, way far forward, you are just so happy. So happy. Infantry are way more precious in less bases. I don't know if Sasha loses the Sturm matchup. They definitely have very different strengths. But stuff like this should never happen. If you're playing Sturm, you don't go tanks. Until you can do it later. But instead of tanks, you get like your initial wave of infantry that you're gonna rely on to capture everything, and then just tons and tons of recons. Just tons of them. And so like these captures just don't happen. These captures just like don't happen. And you're relying on your aggression to defend your infantry. Your opponent has to just constantly be protecting their own stuff, so they can't go and stop you. Early recon is a must on 2-base. It depends on the map. Or recon. I'm not sure why that recon wasn't in this forest. But like, you can see that Sturm's going to run into a problem where he can't like really kill off these tanks. And these tanks can easily retreat and just heal up, and then Sasha's not going to be falling behind at all in unit count or anything. But like stuff like this should never happen against Sturm. There should never be a point where someone can just throw infantry at you and you don't have an answer. There should always be like multiple recons that just come in and clean this whole thing up. Yeah, I mean, you can... I don't know how many of my games as Sturm there are out there, but it's an aggressive number of recons. Every question is, I've got more recons than infantry. Do I have enough recons? And the answer is no, I need more. You can go really nice recon copter compositions, because when you have so many recons and you've got your opponent so far pushed back and they're building tanks to try and ward you off, but they're running out of infantry, they can't get any anti-airs out. And the anti-airs they do manage to get out, you know where they are because you've got so many recons. So as Sasha here, you can, like right now, you can definitely go for a medium tank. I would also suggest copter into artillery infantry, not tank. And the reason is, once you start building copters, you want to break this pipe seam really fast, because it delays your copters quite a bit. And as Sturm, your composition, you're going to want to get more indirects, because the indirects aren't hurt so much by your negative defense. And indirects really want to move into forests, which is something that you help them do because you don't get that movement cost reduction. Your first big unit that you're going to be buying is probably going to be a rocket. What's my CO pick here for tier 1? It would probably be Von Bolt. If Von Bolt is banned, which he might be, it would be a toss-up between Sturm and Sasha. Probably Sturm. Maybe Sasha. Probably Sturm. I really like Sturm. Yeah, he's banned, yeah. Very understandably that he's banned. So the problem that Sturm is running into right now is that Sturm just has a normal unit composition. This is the kind of unit composition you would expect Andy to have, or like Von Bolt to have. It's not really playing into Sturm's strengths. Because in just straight up fights, he's not like much better than anyone else. His unit, like both his units die slower, the opponent's units die slower. The real thing that makes Sturm strong is his movement shenanigans, which makes recons extra strong, it makes rockets extra strong, it makes artillery extra strong. It makes missiles usable. You're not going to win in a brawl. Not like a straight up brawl. Yeah, you feel like an Andy player dressed up as Sturm for Halloween. You can also go really big tanks as Sturm. And just rely on that extra defense. Because I guess Sturm Neo Tank is still going to take out a lot of tanks. You could Javier on this map. It would be incredibly risky, and if you ever fought Sturm as Javier, you're just going to lose. You will not get your comm towers against Sturm. You probably wouldn't get them against Sasha either. These are very easy to deny. Market crash. Yeah. You can see how this is going. Sasha can kind of bully Sturm a lot. He's never going to get his power. Because Sasha's, you know, is often like Von Bolt in strength, which is kind of the nightmare for Sturm to brawl against without using like rockets and the like. The only thing for Sasha I would say is get out an artillery, break this pipe scene. Sturm can do it too, it just takes even longer for Sturm. Poor guy. That medium tank's going to be good. If Sturm doesn't have rockets, there's like nothing he can do against this medium tank. Other than like use 2 of his own. Every time you play tier 1 versus Master Combi, he likes Sasha and you like Hawk? That's so mean. That's such a rough matchup for Hawk, but you know, but like Tordred had a lot of wins versus Sasha as Hawk, so there's definitely something to it. You can get it done. It depends on the map too. I like this fallback. It's a little bit shaky of a wall, but Sturm doesn't have any recons, so it's not going to be that obvious that it's breakable. And there's, of course, a lot of stuff behind it that would just crush Sturm. So, hey, we got the Neo Tank. That's a hard to kill Neo Tank. Sturm Neo Tank. And Sturm Neo Tanks, because Neo Tanks overkill a lot of things. Not as much as a Mega Tank, though. I guess the Neo Tank doesn't really overkill that much stuff. They get some overkill. So you can get one-shots with a Sturm Neo Tank. Sturm Mega Tank is pretty nice, because the negative attack does not stop your Mega Tank from killing tanks. And by golly, is it hard to kill a Sturm Mega Tank, even hide in forests really easily. Sturm is kind of the CO that says, you know, all those units that are often really bad, they're actually incredible for me. He's got good missiles, he's got good rockets, he's got good mega tanks. Okay, this is looking like it might be the game over turn. Quickslow even banked a bunch of cash. Sturm Mega Tanks, 1-hit KO, medium tanks on planes. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you didn't build a single indirect. So normally this composition would just get absolutely wiped out because it would be like slowly moving forward, and then like 6 Sturm recons would just come out of nowhere, wipe out a bunch of these infantry, and then like 2 tanks would come and kill the artillery. This is, you do not do really slow pushes into the fog against Sturm. Or like rockets would start raining down on it. The market crash again. Poor Sturm. Yeah. This is starting to look very GG. The Neo tank. Gonna get to hit a medium tank. And the medium tank does too. Yas. We get the meteor strike. Pow. Sturm's meteor strike's really good. It's a lot better than his super because it costs less. And because defense is so strong, the more defense you have, the more impactful each next 10% becomes. Since both the defense from terrain and your firepower is based on your health. So oftentimes, Sturm uses his power just... I might have actually started making a comeback for Sturm, which is cool. Sturm uses his power just for the stat boost. This is looking like a pretty formidable attack, except for one huge flaw in that there's only 1 infantry. Actually, I think I might just get beaten up this turn. We'll see. It looks like Sasha's playing cautious. That's fine. But of course, attacks like this don't actually matter if you don't have any infantry behind them to cap stuff. And as we saw in my tournament game against Hogat, yeah, I don't know why that 9 health guy was so far out. As we saw in my tournament game against Hogat, capping with a 9 health infantry is a world of difference in comparison to a 10 health infantry. Because now Sasha gets a whole turn of prep. And boy, is that a lot of prep. Yeah, T-copter to get infantry to the front faster would make sense. Okay. Very weird to see that Sasha's the one with a recon that's ready to just beat up some infantry. That's okay. Ow. Mixlo's doing a good job here, making sure to use the vehicles in the very back. Ooh. This tank got trapped on this Neo tank. Ooh, that means that Cookie Lamb is actually going to get this comm tower, which is shocking to me. Looks like it just wasn't quite in position, despite having a whole turn to set up. Yeah, this is probably what makes the base slightly rough. Just you can't squeeze out infantry. And the Quicksilver is doing a pretty good job of it. I think I've heard of the dual strike mechanic. Is that in tag? I have no idea why. Okay, I'm going to assume that Cookie Lamb is not capturing the comm tower yet to take more recoil or counterattack damage to try and get the power. Okay. Well, if you were going to do it that way, then definitely you don't want it yet for that attack. Okay. There we go. Oh. Hit the tank. And hit the tank. There you go. That was very close. Wow. That's very nice. That's a pretty big deal. That's a big deal, of course, because it hit a bunch of units and weakened them. But now Sturm also has... Sturm actually has a positive attack modifier now. He's currently plus 10, plus 30. Yeah, that was very clutch. Okay. Mixler's still able to do some pretty decent attacks here. Wow. That Neo tank just waits. That is wild to me. Okay. I mean, it would get beat up a bit. But just waiting and letting everything in front of it die. Is so weird to me. Okay, it's now up to 10. I mean, I think it might be because Quickslow hasn't realized that there's just a one infantry with this. And so he's hanging out on the HQ to prevent an HQ cap. Not realizing that there's actually no threat of an HQ cap. Which is weird because this recon's been like seeing everything. Oh, this looks like a resign. Oof. Wow. That was quite the comeback, Cookie Lamb. Yeah, getting that comm tower. How did... I think what happened was Quickslow was just a little too cautious on this setup turn. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Neo tank can't even reach the comm tower. Even so, though. You can still the anti-airs can't get. Oh, the anti-air is so far back. So that was definitely a pretty big blunder, the setup turn there. And then the other blunder, I think this is the other turn that, like, that's such a huge swing. 28 to 17. Still really far behind in unit count, but the unit value in this meteor hit and then the fight ongoing over here. It's a Sturm tank. That is a Sturm tank. Oh, you're talking about before? Yeah, with no comm tower, then you can't break it because that's like the equivalent of a normal tank on the forest. Well played, Cookie Lamb. That was quite the comeback. Sorry, Brasmac. Okay, I'm gonna do one more game and then I have to call it day. Your brain got a little more wrinkly after that game? Nice. Okay, we'll do a Habits game and then all of the night. So I have to do a bunch of stuff. We got Habits against... Is this... Need to be a couple dice. We're on this map again. Fun stuff. More base light, yeah. A much smaller base light map. That's definitely better for infantry. Okay. Ooh. Interesting that Habits is going this way this game, rather than going this way. I'm actually not sure why. Because doesn't that just eat up a capture that this base would normally go for, which means you're just going to have a slower capture phase in general? Yes, if in baseline, if you were just building infantry from one city, you would end up losing, probably. Okay, so because of this, it looks like Habits is going to lose this city. Or maybe not lose the city, but have the cap denied. The Just player here is actually doing really well. Yeah, you have to have a balance between vehicles and infantry. Oftentimes, the best practice is you produce a lot of infantry early on, and then you just preserve them really well. Or you can build like copters and big vehicles to get some infantry out. Ooh. Very interesting to have us just let this happen. Instead of trying to go for the interrupt. Must be feeling confident that you can just take it. And probably can. Infantry walls are not as well. Infantry walls are still infantry walls. You're just not going to be able to maintain them so well. Just infantry are to be pitied, not attacked. You made a stupid idea for this map? I like my recon rush on this map. Although that game's still ongoing. Ooh, that's a fancy... That's a pretty fancy city block. I think it gives up this capture to do it. No, because I'm looking at the infantry blocking you in. And then AA plus infantry hitting up here. I think you can break it because you have this copter. You bait the AA so your copter dominates. Oh, with the infantry attack in the harbor. I see, I see. I really like this city block. Just wasn't quite in position to really punish it. Which is nice. And yeah, now that the anti-air is up here, although, I mean, it's not that bad for the anti-air. It is also blocking the airport. But yeah, now this copter gets to have some nice real estate on this mountain, threatening everything. Ooh, and the AA runs all the way back, so it's no longer trying to do my gosh, an airport lock. Although there are artillery here that were kind of denying it. In general, if there's a really forward anti-air staring at your airport and you've got like artillery or something that can kill the anti-air after it goes up and kills a copter, you just build a copter and you trade down 1k in resources, but you're netting positive in unit count because airports are kind of considered bonus units, and you're benefiting a lot in that you are losing a unit that you can replace instantly in a single turn, but their anti-air has to spend multiple turns from the base to replace that one. So usually it's a good trade for you to do, is just build a copter. They have to spend a forward anti-air to kill it, and then you kill the anti-air and you just build another copter. And yeah, they net 1k over you, you net a unit, but more importantly, they're not going to have an anti-air in that area for quite a while in comparison to how you get a copter again. There we go. Ooh, lots of great plays around threatening this harbor. We got a nice front switch. One of the key things to look at for whether or not it's safe to front switch is where your opponent's infantry are. So this is a pretty safe front switch to do because there's no infantry to immediately start capturing this harbor. They can't really punish you for leaving yet. If there was infantry here already, they could step on the harbor and start moving these vehicles up, and then you're like, oh no, I've moved my vehicles out of position. Good night, Fluffy. Ooh, this is a pretty daring attack there. You're gonna get this harbor. That's pretty big. Okay. Oh, there's a forest here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty cheeky. That's some pretty darn cheeky positioning. Really threading the needle. So this tank can't be hit by another tank. As long as this infantry's here. Jess can kill the infantry using 2 infantry, but that would body block the tile that the tank would have to strike from. So if Jess wanted to kill this infantry, she'd have to use the anti-air here. There's also a ton of artillery staring at all this, so wouldn't want to do that anyway. Okay. I mean, this is looking pretty good. At this point, Jess really needs to get another anti-air. Because there's 1 anti-air and there's 3 copters. And you can see that it's okay for Habits to give up a lot of space over here because the infantry are just, they weren't quite close enough to finish fast enough. And these forward vehicles normally aren't really threatening anything, but they are kind of threatening something in this case. They're threatening the base lock. Okay. Our Jess player is backing up. I definitely agree with backing up here. The only thing here is these mountains aren't really safe right now to use as walls. Yeah. So that was the mistake that Jess was making there, which a lot of people make that mistake. In many situations, mountains are totally safe to use as walls. Also, the breakthrough down here could have been on Jess's radar there, but that was very nice, Habits. You had a very, very good positioning. Set up some very nice attacks. I will say that I really like Jess's opening in comparison to your opening. But the front switch and really setting up those opportunities for yourself were very good. Oh, that's very sweet, Advanced Warrior. Good arty play warms your soul. Yeah, that was very good arty play. Okay. I'm going to be calling it a night. I'll see everyone tomorrow. I hope everyone has a good day. or night or morning, depending on where you are.